Sisters and brothers of our Lord Jesus Christ, where does our help come from? Our help comes from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth, and from Jesus Christ, who is the same yesterday, today, and forever. Now, there are times in our lives when we rest securely under the blessing and salvation of God, and then there are times in life when terror and tribulation tear us out of that sense of security. December 7 and September 11. November 22, April 4, and now January 6 are just some of the dates when the world was torn in two. And we stumble around seeking to make sense of this tension between tribulation and salvation, terror and God's blessing. What practices can help to hold us together when tribulation and terror are pulling us one way and we are trying to hold tightly to God's blessing and salvation in the other way, in the other direction? Lament is a prayer for people who are being torn in two. And Psalm 13 is an example of a lament psalm. It's considered a classic model for a lament psalm. A lament psalm is a prayer that is honest about the state of life. It boldly states that tribulation and terror reveal God's absence. Verse 1, "How long, O Lord, will you forget me forever? How long will you hide your face from me?" At the same time, lament psalm is honest about how blessing and salvation reveal God's presence in this world. Verse 6, "I will sing the Lord's praise." That's future tense. "I will sing the Lord's praise, for he has been good to me." Now, how can one prayer hold together under that level of tension? The absence of God and the salvation of God. The prayer holds together by clinging to the hesed of God. Hesed. That's a Hebrew word that refers to God's covenant promises. It refers to God's covenant love. It refers to God's covenant faithfulness. The NIV translates the word hesed with God's unfailing love. Verse 5, "But I trust in your unfailing love. My heart rejoices in your salvation." For the psalmist, God's unfailing love is worth trusting in because of the Red Sea and the Mount Sinai and entrance in the Promised Land. And for us, God's unfailing love is worth trusting in because of the cross and the empty tomb. This is where Jesus holds together in the face of the absence of God. My God, why have you forsaken me?" Together with the glory of Easter. A lament, like Psalm 13, for example, is a prayer for the times when the world is being torn in two, when it feels like we are being torn in two, because it gives voice to a faith that is seeking to make sense of a world that is at its worst in terms of the unfailing love of God. Now may the peace of Christ go with you wherever you may be. May he guide you through the wilderness and protect you in the storm. May he fill you with thanksgiving at the wonders he has shown you, and may he bring us all home rejoicing face to face again once more. Go in peace.